Hello and welcome. Welcome to season 3, episode 26 of Fabrically Speaking Live. I'm your host, Clare Rowley, inventor of the Creative Feet line of sewing machine products and the Octi-Hoops, which I'm going to be using today. And these are free motion embroidery and quilting frames that you can use with any sewing machine, no matter how new or how old. All you need is a straight stitch. In fact, you cannot use the Octi-Hoops if you have a embroidery only machine that requires the embroidery unit that moves the hoops. So this is just about, the most inclusive thing there is out there. You can all do it. And sometimes people think, well, why would you do it the hard way? Why would you do it free motion when you can have an embroidery machine? And my opinion is it's fun. It is so much fun to do the drawing, just like it's fun to color in a coloring book. And once you get the hang of it, you might find that you feel the same way I do. I know some of the people in the chat will agree, and you can give me a thumbs up if you find the Octi-Hoops as fun as I do. Maybe your words can inspire someone else to try it, buy it, get them out if they already own them, and give it a try, give it a go. I also have a free online school. It's create.clarerowley.com. It is at the top of the chat, the link, and in the description below the video when this is over. This is June 23rd. Is it? My eyesight. I think it is. Yes, June 23rd. And it is 2 o'clock or thereabouts, Mountain Standard Time. And we are currently the same time as California. We will not be changing our clocks in the fall when the rest of the United States does, and then our time will change, which is why I bring it up every time we go live. Hello everybody. Hello Madeline, Brenda. Hello DS from Texas. I'm not sure what your name is. If you're watching on any of my Facebook groups or pages, be sure to click on the 3 dots at the top of the page and allow the Restream application to see your profile so we can see your beautiful faces and have access to your name so I know who you are, because it's a lot more fun when I can call you out. Hi Linda, hi Madeline, hi Judy. My eyes are blurry, and it's probably because I've been really busy. Hi Wendy. Hi Madeline. I don't know if I already said your names. Welcome everyone. I just was given information on our website that the number one thing searched for is the pattern for my elbow pillows. So I'm going to be adding them to the Creative Feet site as well, and it's already available on inside of the school. I have to mute. That was a lot of talking without drinking any water. This is the pattern that I came up with. It is going to be inside of the VIP group. I already designed it, so it's just a matter of me getting in there and putting it inside of the VIP group. If you're not sure what the VIP group is, it is at create.clarerowley, the link that you see at the top of the screen right now. And what that is my social media platform that is private, so you don't have to worry about going into Facebook in order to interact with me. We have groups inside of the school so that you can participate. Why isn't that moving? For some reason my desktop's not popping up on my magic buttons. Interesting. We have a glitch. Uh-oh. Got a glitchy thing going on here. I may not be able to share my screen today. Oh well. As long as you can see me and you can see what I'm doing, we're good to go, right? I got the air conditioner going. Can you guys hear it? Let's see. I can't tell if I can hear it. And it's not good to be listening to a video and hearing air blowing, but it feels really good because it's hot in here. Now I have that song in my head. It's hot in here. So what I'm going to be using today is the Octi-Hoops, and they come as a kit. You can find them at creativefeet.com and participating sewing machine dealers. So if I put on, I lower the overall building's air conditioning. I can turn off the other one. So you guys do hear it? I'm going to turn off the air. One sec. So what you're seeing here is the kit. If you were to have purchased this on Amazon, you would have also a DVD inside. I'm going to go ahead and get that link to stop showing up. We don't need that the whole time. You have instructions, the location for a bunch of videos, because I do have an educational video series to help you learn how to use the Octi-Hoops. If you haven't found your way there yet, make sure you guys take the time to look through your instructions for that. And also you will find a playlist on my YouTube channel called Octi-Hoops. And inside the Octi-Hoop playlist are a bunch of videos. I don't know how many. So many, because I love it. Today we're having a giveaway for one of the products I'm going to use on this. Hi, Roxy Diane. Welcome. Can you still not hear me, Wendy? Because I can hear me in my ear, which means generally means I'm on. I just knocked my red thread on the floor. This is the thread I'm going to be using today. This is the Polyfast 100% polyester 40 weight. And this is a special polyester thread. It is set apart from all other polyester threads, and why we carry it at creativefeet.com is because of its unique surface. They call it trilobal, and the trilobal nature of it makes that message is everywhere today. Why is that there? I didn't think it was set up for that one. Who's running this show? Okay. So what it has kind of like a diamond, like a diamond reflection, so it shines even more than other brands of polyester thread. And I would show you a comparison if I even bothered to use other brands anymore. I do have them still. So I'm going to be using the red thread, white, and blue because we're doing the red, white, and blue. And I have designed several different options for you to choose from on the hearts, so that if you feel like you're a little bit challenged to maybe do a bunch of little stars, and instead you want to just do, just 2 or just 1 star to keep it really simple. Oh, well, I turned off the air conditioner, but thanks for trying to communicate with me. I know you are yelling when you're not with me. This camera looks a little bit yellow to me, even though I set the white balance. Okie dokie. So the pattern that I designed for this, and why everyone's searching for it, is because unlike other brands of sewing machine accessories and attachments, with most others, your elbows are kind of in a raised position as you sew. And with the Creative Feet, well, I've designed them for physically and visually challenged sewers, so we actually get to put our elbows down. And when your elbows are down for a long period of time, they can get sore. So I have different size pillow options for different projects you may be working on, and it takes all of that tension between your shoulder blades and takes it away, because you're not holding your arms up in the air. Kind of a silly thing to do all day long. Can you imagine walking around all day long with your elbows in the air? You'd be pretty tired pretty quick, right? But when we're doing something we love, we can be mindless and not realize how many hours we've had our elbows up. In the Octi-Hoop kit, you do get some patterns to print. This is one of them that I designed for you guys to represent the fact that you probably are interested in quilting. So this is a video in my, which playlist? Inside of my YouTube channel, in the Clare Rowley's Creative Notions, you'll have the complete tutorial on how to embroider this without having to watch it live. So if you're more inclined to not watch live because it takes too long for you to get to the point of what you're trying to learn, then be sure to check that out. This is the live, and where my students and I gather together and have fun every Thursday at 2 o'clock. And generally the ideas come from you, not from my mind, thank God, because 52 lessons a year is a lot to think about and a lot to come up with. So the Octi-Hoops come 3 to a set, and one of the things we're going to have to choose is which hoop to use for the baseball cap. And we're going to need to get the cap to flatten out and get this bill under control. My thumb is just this close to being completely healed, you guys. And I am trying to be really careful how I handle everything. Inside of the kit, when you get the Octi-Hoops, there are some stabilizers included in here, and you may not be mindful to read the directions and to see that there are stabilizers in there, and you might just toss out all the stabilizers. So just know that on the cardboard square inside the package, there's 3 feet of the stabilizer I'm about to use, which is our stick and tear stabilizer found at creativefeet.com and on Amazon and at dealers that supply our products all over. So be sure to ask your retail location if they carry the Creative Feet brand stabilizers. If they don't, they can. We don't care what dealer, what type of sewing machine they carry. We are all inclusive. We embrace everybody here. So when I did this, my son was like, this was not a good choice of color. And I didn't have another hat, so I just went, I don't care, I'm going to do it anyway, and I'll let you see. So if you feel color challenged sometimes, know that sometimes I am color challenged as well. So the pink next to the red, probably not a good choice of hat color. And where do I pick up these hats? I got them at Hobby Lobby, and this is I like this brand because I like how it looks. It looks more fancy. And this is Cobra Cars. I have no idea where I picked it up. You got to watch out for these little eyelets. And while I love to embroider hats, I cannot wear one. It is not something that looks good on me. Another thing we can do is we can also embroider on visors. So if you are a visor wearer, know that you can follow all the same steps that I'm going to do here on a visor if you have those. And they have these cute little ones for children that make a great idea for 4th of July, I think. Okay. How do you get the design onto the cap? That is the issue. So what you want to do is you want to take a water-soluble stabilizer and tape it to a piece of inkjet paper, and then tape it to the paper and run it through your inkjet printer. Now we have a special one that has an adhesive on the back. We're currently sold out. Now this is, like I mentioned before, June 23rd of 2022. At some point, this will be back in stock, and it is the one with the dolphin on the label because it's water soluble. So this is what I do to print on the stabilizer. I first take the piece of paper and I write up and I put an arrow on it and I put it into the printer cartridge and I print. Now this time I accidentally printed double-sided. So I ended up with printing, and it's not really what you want to do. It's not ideal. But then I thought, you know what? I'm going to see, because I've never tried printing double-sided, and you can see that it isn't fully taped down, but it did successfully print on both sides. And if you want to save your ink, there's the handle. That's what's causing this. If you want to save ink, you can print out this version and not waste any of your printer ink. Just use black and white. And you can also color over your water-soluble stabilizer with alcohol-based pens because they don't have water to cause the evaporation process. So you have your choice of doing that. Another option for you is to use our cover-up stabilizer and place the red color stabilizer beneath the water-soluble, and it will actually stop or block the white of the hat, making the red perfect. I'm looking for an opened one of this. Here we go. And for those of you who watch me every week, I moved my machine back further away from me so that I can actually rest, and I should be feeling much better today. So you can see this is a special vinyl. It is not sticky like a lot of the vinyls that you may have used before. And that's important because the needle, when it enters the fabric and exits the fabric, we need it not to grab the needle because that causes skip stitches, thread shredding, and all kinds of thread frustrating experiences. The next thing we need to do is we need to determine where we want our design to be on the hat. I like to take it an inch above the actual brim of the hat. So when you're wearing it, your design the bottom will be an inch up, and then the design is up here. I did design this to fit nicely in that section of the hat, and you'll see that as I remove the sticker and place it on the cap. Who should say hats? Most cats don't fit in your big head. Oh, and now I get what you guys are talking about. That's funny. All right, so I have a little Scotch tape here. And actually I use the type of tape I use is one that leaves no residue. And then when you stick it on things, it doesn't leave sticky afterward. So let's see. I think I'm going to use the cover up beneath. And this can be used on embroidery machines as well, by the way. Another way to transfer designs is to use a light tablet. If your hat isn't too thick, if you have a foam hat, it'll be a little bit more challenging. You would take and you can put sorry, I got a birthday card or Mother's Day card under here and other things. Let's see. This is the Caterpillar light tablet, and I'm going to talk about that for a minute because we've been out of some of their products. I just spoke with the inventor of the Caterpillar product. We had a nice chat and talked for about an hour, and two inventors talking together. I'm like, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, and he has some new products that I am going to be adding to Creative Feet. It's super exciting. If you've seen me struggle to hold the ruler since I injured my thumb, he has something fantastic for that. And not only does it help with your hand, but it also makes it so you can see better. There's something super exciting coming up. He has engineered some rulers that light up. It goes perfect with the Caterpillar. So you can see, even if you lean over your light source and cause that shadow all over your work, the actual ruler is lit. And then he also has a handle that's suction cup, and it has a light on it. And it's got the perfect size grip to make it so that you don't strain that part of your thumb that I have currently injured. So know that these are coming up, and I will announce when they're on our site. He did release the clamp light and sold out in, I think he said 4 weeks, completely sold out of his entire inventory. But good news, they're already almost back in stock. If you're waiting for the Ultra totes, they're still 4 weeks out. They're sewing away, making them. All of the other totes are either back in stock or will be back in stock within a week. So just know that, check your email. Make sure you check your spam folder for updates from me if you're waiting for any of the Caterpillar things. Now, if you're waiting for Crafters Edge products, if you are one of the die cutting fans, know that they're waiting on their steel. They have a specially engineered steel that makes it so that the steel plate can allow you to cut fabric on their platforms, and this has been delayed. So I am in constant communication with these companies, trying to keep you apprised of their delays. And just so you know, the Creative-Feet line of products are all made here in the United States, and we rarely are sold out of any of our products unless one of our suppliers uses something that they're experiencing a shortage in. So part of why our stick and rinse is delayed. All right, enough of that. Just know that you want to make sure you join our newsletter as well. And you're going to notice inside the school, they just made it so I can add more links. So when you go into the school, there's going to be navigations on the side, so you can go to the website and find your way around through the maze of all of the things that I keep offering to you. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Tina. Welcome, Tina. All right, here we go. I'm chatty today. So when you have this cutting mat, comes with the light tablet and it has lines on it. But when you want to trace something, the lines can cause you to not be able to see well. And I don't really want to take this thing off, do I? I guess I can for this. So I'm just going to slide this mat over. They have specially engineered mats. And I just want you to know that these are more affordable than just about everybody else's mat out there. And they're see-through, and you can print or cut right through them over the light tablet. Okay. So now you see this is the edge-to-edge mat, and I thought they etched in centimeter squares, but he said no, that's what makes the mat not slip on the light table. It's stuck to it. So you can see that the whole tablet moves, but the mat itself does not slip on the actual light tablet, which is super important, because if you could slide this mat, then as you're cutting, you could actually end up dropping off and cutting into your light tablet. So that's just really well thought out. But I thought they put those lines in there so we'd have measurements. Well, it's just a bonus. So you can use the mat to help you position things, even though there are no black lines on that. So didn't I choose which one I'm going to do? Yeah, but I didn't choose color, even though I want to use color. Let's see. Where'd I put it? It's easier to see the thing when it's color. Where'd I put it? Amy, where is it? So this is me on 4 hours sleep. I was up working with my son on some things, and he works nights because the bandwidth is, the internet's faster at night when people are sleeping. So you can take and place your pattern beneath the light tablet. And this is how it looks to my eye when this is on. Whereas it kind of makes the camera squint a little bit. Now I lost the hat. Oh, there it is. So then you can take and you could lay this down and carefully trace your design using a iron away or wash away or any other type of temporary pen, I wouldn't go ahead and use the Sharpie directly on the hat, as it does bleed when you write on fabric. And it will also ruin your pen because it'll just suck out all of the alcohol and dry out your pen. Hi, Buffy. You're not the driver? That reminds me of someone. Rose. One of the students from the Babbling Brick course, she was driving and she was the passenger. She swore she was the passenger, but we were doing the Babbling Brick course and she was in her car participating. Okay, so I'm going to place some stick and tear onto the back of the hoop and get the cap in place. If I can find it. And I really do feel as though you could get away with using other brands of water solubles while you're waiting for our stick and rinse to come in. You can use the 3M Photo Mount Permanent Spray Adhesive, and you spray it on the stabilizer. It doesn't have any water in it, so it won't make it evaporate or won't make the water soluble dissolve. And that would be after you print on it, not before. Because if you do it, if you stick this, there's a lot of S's in this, the spray adhesive onto the paper, it can peel the paper up and also stretch out your stabilizer. So there's an option for you while you're waiting, should you already have water solubles and you think, I don't want to have to buy another water soluble. Another brand that I just recently tested for lace, which was the last two episodes. Well, last week's Fabrically Speaking Live was lace making. So you can find the link actually in this video as well as last week's, and also the impromptu video I did on Tuesday where I finished the lace right before I went live with the VIP group. Boy, was that a busy, this has been a busy, lots of talking for me this week. Chase just entered the room. I guess he's not going to invade. Okay. So honestly, I really feel like I can embroider this with the medium hoop. It's adequate in size. And the smaller the hoop, the easier it is for you to handle, especially if your machine is elevated above a table like mine is. Stick and tear is in this drawer. I need more sleep. I think I'm going to have to go to bed early tonight. The problem is the closer I get to finish editing my novel, the less I'm so into the story and so excited to get it finished that I simply just don't want to sleep. But at some point you start acting like a crazy person, or I shouldn't even say that. Are you guys laughing at me or something else? I can't read the chat today. Can't keep up with it, and here we go. So you can use any type of pen you want, but if you write with a Sharpie alongside your Octi-Hoop, you're probably going to get some ink on your Octi-Hoop, which is why I generally will use a iron away pen or ballpoint pen so it doesn't write on my hoop and it keeps it pretty. I could also, instead of doing it this way, take my rotary cutter and cut along the outside. But because it is an octagon shape, it kind of is a little bit more challenging and you may end up not having a perfect cut. Now you want to use craft scissors if you're going to cut through the stick and tear because the release liner is paper. People call our product sticky paper, but it is not. It's really not. It's not paper at all. So I don't think I've ever cut it with the rotary cutter completely on my show, so I thought I should show you that you can. So if none of you really could hear the air conditioner, I am going to turn it back on. We got cloud cover now and it's humid season. Amy, are you guys expecting rain down in Phoenix? I was posting at midnight. Unfortunately, you guys can prove it. I think the last post I made was 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I actually woke up sitting up at my desk. But I had to catch up and get you all these patterns. And I know it's Betty, is that her name? One of you was the one that asked for the bear. Her name escapes me right now. She sent me an email going, I really need the access to the second video. And sometimes when I share a video in the school, it looks really pretty. And sometimes it doesn't. So I've learned how to make all my posts look pretty, which means when you go into the free videos area or the live sessions area or the free patterns, you will actually see a pretty picture of the actual project instead of just words. So I'm going to be freshening up the whole site, and I won't keep notifying you guys of everything. It's just each thing I did over the last 24 hours were things that people really were asking for, and I didn't want to post it without notifying because then you wouldn't know that it was done. So sorry for bombarding you. You know if you're a regular that I'm normally not that active. Which one of you teased me first today? Was it Brenda? Actually, I was as active as Brenda is usually. Brenda, also known as Brandy. When I accidentally called her Brandy one day. So now what I'm doing is I'm stretching the stabilizer out and making it taut. So the word taut means like a drum where you want everything stretched so that there is no sag in it. The more saggy your stabilizer, like baggy pants. I shouldn't have said that because that has no correlation. But if your stabilizer is loose, then your needle, when it exits, the fabric lifts up with the needle, and that causes the thread to come too close to the back of the needle. And when the hook of your sewing machine tries to go behind the thread where that little scarf is in the back side of your needle, well, it misses and it nicks the thread. And then your take-up lever, which goes up and down in front of the machine, when it pulls the thread back up, and that's its purpose, to pull slack down, allowing the thread to go beneath your bobbin case, and the thread swims through all the lint that you tend not to clean out of your machine. So keep that in mind. You want to clean your machine on a regular basis. So if this is not really taut, then the hat won't be taut. What's really neat about our stabilizer and our hoop, because of the octagon shape, it is stronger than a circle and it is stronger than a square. So you can't change its shape by squeezing it like you can with a round hoop, which every time I look down there, it's not there. I have an old-fashioned wooden hoop, but I think it has feet and it walks away. You have a new noisy neighbor. That's no fun. I'll tell you what. I have noisy birds and they wake me up at 4 in the morning. I didn't know that birds woke up that early. I don't remember it. But they're not just waking up at 4 in the morning. They're having a party. And I have lots of trees, so I probably have hundreds of birds in my backyard every day. Today I had a really fun walk. I had 2 bunny rabbits cross my path. I had 2 lizards cross my path. I had a dragonfly fly right next to my face for a little bit, and then he came back again for another flyby. All this while I walked the dogs this morning. Did any of you walk today? Guess what else happened to me today? I found a kindness rock with Snoopy on it. I posted it in my personal Facebook page. I'm looking to see that there isn't any sloppy, baggy behavior, and you can hear it. I have a drum. Now, when we attach the cap to this, we could just put it directly on there, but it is better to use the hold light if you're using one of the foam caps. I think that I'll be fine without it on here. So I'm going to go ahead and just lay it directly on where we normally would put our stabilizer called hold light on it. Actually, before I do that, I should draw my little mark for the... This is when a little ruler is very handy to have. So this is great because you have a vertical line, but you also need a horizontal line so that you don't end up with a heart that's tipping to one side. And here we go. I need to learn more about that, about what you're talking about, Brittany. You walked in the office to get an allergy shot. I thought you had gallery. I thought it said gallery. Allergies are no fun. So now I did incorporate some lines in the pattern to help you. I did the horizontal lines, and I figured the center of the center area had a line to keep you from getting crooked. And we're going to stick that down. But before we do, I'm going to lay this down. And I have blue for the blue. A gallery would have been better than an allergy center, huh? We also have clear, should you be doing a design that has lots of different colors. And clear, even though it is clear, kind of mutes. It's a foggy clear. And many professional embroidery companies swear by this, and so this is our most popular, is the clear. Now, serious companies, we have companies that embroider for manufacturers, and they use the colors. And what you do is you base the color of the fabric cover up on the color of the thread that you're going to use. And what the goal is to not have to use as much of the thread to cover the contrasting fabric. So this is white, and getting the blue to completely cover up the white would take more stitches than if we used the fabric cover or cover up. You have Canadian geese. Oh yeah. See, I love geese, but I've never lived with geese. My sister Kathy sends me. She lives on a pond. She has a pond in her backyard. Enough to where they can kayak a little bit. Is that the right word? Yeah. And so I'm having trouble getting the release liner separated. And what I generally do is use a piece of Scotch tape, which I had on that paper. Where did I do that? Where is it? Here it is. That's not the one. I need to show this more because people think they don't have the right product. Well, I cannot find the pattern with this tape on it. Oh, duh. It's under here. Okay, so I have a piece of Scotch tape on. I really need to have a piece of Scotch tape in my sewing area. I thought I moved one in here before. Okay, so this is just regular old Scotch tape. And you put it on a corner across diagonally and rub your fingernail on that. This is the matte finish side and this is the shiny side. So you see how the light reflects? If you can't tell which side it is, get a light and put it right above it. And you'll see one is hard, you'll squint on the wrong side. So this is the actual stabilizer side. And then after you have that on there, then you just kind of peel and it will peel it right off. See how it, so you don't need to use your fingernails. And there's the sticker coming off. Now this may seem cumbersome to some of you. And remember, you can print on the stick and rinse, but it washes away when it's washed. So you want something that's going to remain behind, and it would take more to get the blue to cover up the white, and I'm going to end up having to do the stars later. But what I'm going to do is cut a piece of this. And you can really get nitpicky with it and patch and make a little square for the white. And the goal is to still have some of the stick around. So I could have only printed one of the hearts and then had a larger section of the stabilizer around it. Another thing we can do is just use the tape that leaves no residue to help tape it down afterward. I'm just going to lay this down. I think I can cut it a little bit smaller. Look at it like this. When I do something I don't do every day, I don't talk for a minute or a second. So the benefit of this is, if you're an embroidery machine user, is that you don't have to digitize your stitches as close together. That makes your garment last longer or not experience as much wear and tear, as the needle doesn't have to go through it as much. Let me peel some of this back, cut some of that. You know, it would be even easier if you just traced onto the fabric cover before you apply it. Then you can cut it out exactly to size. Now I'm going to use some red for the red stripes. And on the design, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 stripes, so I can kind of get an idea of where or how big they need to be. What are you guys doing? What is on your sewing table? And I know Tina doesn't have anything on her sewing table right now because she's healing. I hope that you're feeling better every day. So you can see I can see through it. To speed this up, I can go like this and draw lines and cut out the piece to size. Sure sounds funny when I'm not talking. This is like the most ridiculous pair of scissors to use for this. These are upholstery scissors. This is a perfect job for the Appliquick scissors, the medium size. And since I am struggling with my hands after, to be honest with you, I did so many different things. At the same time, I moved a bunch of rock because I started doing rock work in my yard. So I actually went to a rock quarry and moved a bunch of rocks. And that same week, I decided to start riding my bike again. And I rode my bike with running shoes, and I couldn't get my foot off the pedal fast enough and fell over on my bike, even though I was stopped. Did that twice in 1 week. So these are the reasons why I have a thumb issue. It has nothing to do with my products, but thank God that my products make it so I can still do this work even though I'm injured. Just like when I broke my shoulder falling, trying to save my, boy, I sound clumsy, trying to save my cell phone. from falling. On a visit to Seattle to visit my son. My poor son had to witness his mom fall over. It's really not that much more work than it is to do an applique, in my opinion. My thumb is so close to being healed, though. I know it. It's within my grasp. So see, this is not that bad, is it? Even easier if I was looking down from above. But then you'd see my head. However, like when you're doing embroidery and you're professional, you throw in the color, you use the color thread, you peel it off, you throw the next color underneath, and machine stitches it, you tear it. So it's a process of, as the machine is sewing. Since we're the embroidery unit, we need a little bit more control to do that. It's better to have the sticker down there because we're not a program, we're not a computer. We need a guide. So if you have an embroidery machine, it's easier than what you're seeing me do here to get set up. But one of the reasons I'm going to use this, or I'm using it, is because it's going to also raise the thread up above the fibers on the hat and make it look richer. I think I need a little bit more in here. And you can see that I'm not going to worry too much about how I place it. Just a little patch job. I think I forgot to eat. Oh yeah, I had a shake. I do have to end the show at 4, so don't let me get distracted. Got to go to UPS today. Don't want anyone to be disappointed. I'm going to take this Scotch tape off. See, so we're building. It looks like Superman, doesn't it? I could do the red and cover it all up, except for then I have the exact same situation. I have to make white thread cover up red fabric. So this is why in this case, and I've never done this design before, so I'm kind of problem solving as I go. In this case, that is why I don't really have to put white behind here because the cap is white, except for if I did use white, well, then the reason to go ahead and use some white in addition to this is because the threads on the red and the blue are going to be higher than the white. But I think it might add some interest to the hat once the sticker is washed away. That is. I'm going to go ahead and look through the caterpillar. It took me so long to be able to say caterpillar. Now it just comes out of my mouth so easy. Why not have it all be just so and not have to tear it? Then I'll have some stick and rents holding it all down all the way around. I have no idea if this is showing up on here. Nope, can't see it. So I'll use this. I mean, for that matter, you could even do the stars, but I'm not going to. If you've done embroidery on a baseball cap before, give me a thumbs up and know that odds are you used my dad's product. He was the inventor of the Hoop-It-All. And the reason he named his company Hoop-It-All is because he came up with a hoop that let you embroider on a baseball cap on regular sewing on your embroidery machines. And what we're using here is his stabilizer, the tree frog stabilizer, green frog stabilizer, stick and tear, also known as SIA, also known as Stick It All. One product with many names, over 25 years in manufacturing. The original method of floating your fabric was all invented by my father, Don Rowley. Also an inventor, also an author. My dad published a book based on my aunt who taught Shirley Temple and Mickey Rooney and Ava Gardner, and who else did she teach? What's her name? My dad's would be rolling his eyes going, come on, Claire. You know her name. She was Michael Jackson's close friend. Huge star. Dark hair. She was starred in a movie with a horse when she was a young girl. And his book is called The MGM Stars. What is it? I should just bring the book in so you can see it. There we go. So that's good. And I can always tear that away, but why not just get rid of it now? American Beauty. I can't believe I'm having trouble remembering her name. She's a major star. Okay, so now I'm going to go like this and position it. And I think I'm going to take it down a little bit below the inch. Positioning it while the cap is up, as if it's on someone's head, so you can see that it... What's nice about using the patch or this sticker is you can see where you're going to sew. So there's no guessing. Unlike an embroidery machine where you put the garment in the hoop, there is a risk of you not putting it in the right position. Elizabeth Taylor, thank you. Yes, my dad actually almost dated Elizabeth Taylor. She actually wanted to go out with my father. It's one of his favorite stories. They were young and pre-high school, or maybe it was high school. She wanted him to go to the dance with her or something. So one of his favorite things to say is that he turned down a date with Elizabeth Taylor. My dad is now 93 years old. He just celebrated his 93rd birthday. So I'll post a link for his book in the description since I've talked about it. This is the first time I've really talked about it on my channel. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking through to see, is the bill of the hat going to get stuck under the embroidery anywhere? And this is my chance to peel it back, safety pin it, use straight pins, staples, and from a stapler you could just staple the hat out of position. But I look like I got it positioned really well. And show you. I'll take and lift this up. And we don't want the hoop frame to push against the bill and then cause it to lift up off the fabric. So I'm going to push it back as far as I can away from the frame. And nice that you can see through this so that you can see through the hat to know that your embroidery design, the sticker, is not on the frame itself. And you're never going to sew through the frame because you're always going to be sewing on the sticker. There we go. And now that's sticking very well. And this is one time when I will use a free motion foot, because with the Octi-Hoops, for those of you who are new to the channel, new to the Octi-Hoops, is that you don't normally need a foot. You can sew without one. You can watch me sew without a foot more than with a foot on my channel, on all of the different videos. And instead of having to hold my hands on the frame, put my fingers down like this and move the frame like that, we use handles that come with the Octi-Hoops. These little handles drop into the frame. And you get 2 handles, so if you have children and the kids want to learn how to do this, they can't sew through their fingers if their fingers are on the handles. A lot of children as young as 3 years old are able to do free motion embroidery, so, you know, there's no excuse. If a little 3-year-old can embroider a Christmas ornament and not even be able to touch the pedal, have to sit on an adult's lap and the adult push the pedal, then you guys can do this. You can. You just got to look in the mirror at yourself and go, if I can drive a car, I can do free motion embroidery. It was just, you didn't have the right tools before, but now you do. The Octi-Hoops are just what you need. Just what you always needed, but didn't know. It's kind of like using the other methods. It's like trying to cut steak with a butter knife. This is cutting steak with a steak knife. I'm going to take this down. I need to slide it beneath the needle, and you can see I can clear the needle, and I'll show you that on a close-up. It just easily goes beneath the sewing machine needle. In this case, we definitely want to use a 9014 needle. Base it on the fabric. It's going to be so cool to be able to actually rest my elbows. Where's my other elbow pillow? This littler pillow rolls away. Oh, it's on the table. I found it. It's back here. So that one. And the button does not hurt your elbows. I have a whole bunch of stuff in front of my machine, which is a bad habit. So I'm going to pull this up, and this is one of my little patterns. It's a little cubby for you to put the things you use a lot while you're sewing, including my wooden pressers. Keeps the wooden presser from rolling off your table. It rolls into your little cubby instead. So I overfilled it. It's a bad habit. But then it's because I'm live and just trying to not make you wait while I organize myself better. Next week's VIP is a purse using the lace that I did last week. So if you watched last week and you liked the lace and wondered what I was going to do with it, making it into a clutch purse based on the direction of the students in the VIP, because they boss me around in there. The once a month, whatever you want Claire to sew Zoom chat is literally whatever you guys want me to sew, and they bossed me around like never before. You know who you are, which ones of you got me to do what you wanted, and it turned out beautiful. In order to see it, you got to join the school, because I have it put away a safe distance away from everything else so that it's ready for the next whatever you want Claire to sew Tuesday at 2 Mountain Standard Time. And I believe that is July 26th. I'm going from memory, though. And I am leaning toward taking off next week for the 4th of July holiday week. Give myself an actual week of rest. We'll see if I accomplish that. I may have a pre-recorded video premiere, and so you guys can still chat with one another, but I'm not live. Instead, you watch a video with me live, and I'm just in the chat like you guys are. So that's my plan. If I have enough time to produce a video before then, I don't know. If I keep only sleeping 4 hours a night, maybe I can do that. The color thread that I'm going to use in the bobbin is white, and I'm going to use the lingerie thread in the bobbin. Don't want to use purple, which was in here because of whatever you want Claire to sew Tuesday, where the majority of everyone likes purple. If you like purple more than any other color, give me a thumbs up so that I can see. You're a vegetarian, Amy? I tried that for a while. It didn't. My body likes meat. I go to bioenergetic feedback, and it's always asking for red meat, which I think is interesting. All right, lingerie bobbins, where are you? It's a good idea to separate your bobbins in separate little bobbin holding cases based on the type of thread they are. So you don't have to remember, or you can write on your bobbin. You could write L for lingerie. And I'm not finding it in enough time, so I'm just going to use one of the Deco Bobs, which has been proving to be pretty darn reliable. So like if you bought this kit, you could write DB on all of these. And then if ever you forgot to put one in where it belongs, then you would know that that is your Deco bobbin. I may as well do that right now, show you. So DB, haha. Now I don't have to try to remember. Whoop, bobbins are cheap. So you don't have to, or inexpensive, so you don't have to worry about writing on them. And you can buy the Deco Bob in big spools and rewind your bobbin. But these bobbins, in fact, I'm not going to even use this one because I've been using this white. This is the same set of bobbins. I think it's been 6 months. So for 6 months on all the shows, and I'm almost always using this in the bobbin. And they all look like they haven't been used yet. So I don't know if you can see them all. I'll spin it around so you can see. They all look full. Maybe this camera. See that? Does it look like any of them have been used? It's amazing. And that's because this is 80 weight thread. So one bobbin of this is twice the amount of thread as one bobbin of this. So you wind less bobbins. And now with the cover up, we use less thread. And this makes the embroidery process quicker, better for the garment. If you're an embroidery company and you make, oops, that's the wrong color thread. Forgot to change the thread. If you are a professional and you're trying to make more money from your embroidery, because we do cater to embroidery manufacturers as well. If you're a dealer and you want to buy from Creative Feet, we welcome you to the family of Creative Feet dealers. And you just create an account and then send us an email saying, showing us your URL to your website, and we source and look and see that you are in fact a dealer. And then we give you access to the dealer options. And that's true also of professionals. So if you're a professional manufacturer, you have a business license, you must have a business license, then you can get set up as a professional account and enjoy special discounts all year round. And then you don't have to worry about taxes because you pay your taxes when you sell your items. One of my lights went out. Okay, here we go. Need all the light I can get at this age. Oh, I'm so excited about Caterpillar's new products. I can't wait to present them to you. I'll probably do an unboxing video and record it. You love your Deco Bob? So do I. When they first came out with it, I was like, I get it. But you know how hard it is going to be to convince people that they're getting more thread than they think they are? Because so much thread goes on a bobbin. That's why they don't offer the Invisifill, which is even thinner. They don't offer that with, I'm thinking I probably should have done white first. Oh well. So I'm putting on my gear. I have my glasses. I have 2 different level pillows, one for my right arm and one for my left arm when I have the tablet on here so that I'm level. And then as I prepare to sew, I actually get to sit in my rested elbow position. And generally I will have a little chat with myself and say, there's no reason to be tense. You don't have to grab hold and push down. It's very relaxing. So I say, what do I say, girls? Write it in the chat. I write elbows down, shoulders relaxed. And I say it out loud because you're raised your whole life, you're picking things up, you become a parent, maybe not, a parent of an animal, whatever. You're carrying things around a lot. You have to carry your purse, you got your hands on your steering wheel, you're lifting groceries, it's a lot of reason to keep your shoulders up, and you may have a stressful job. And so when you do this, you kind of you'll be shocked to see that you might be constantly lifting your shoulders up. So have a little talk with yourself and feel your shoulders drop, and you'll feel better. You'll be able to sew longer, which is a little dangerous because you don't want to sit for too long because it can cause a thrombosis. You want to make sure that you get up and walk around, and especially your legs, and bounce them up and down in between stitching. You can sit back and lift your knees up and down like you're running to create blood flow into the bigger muscles in your legs, to keep yourself from having any blood clot issues from sitting too long. Because generally you would normally get really sore when doing this type of work. But without that body ache, you might find yourself sewing for a few hours and not even know it. So it's a good idea to set an alarm on your cell phone and have it make sure that you stop and get up and get out of the room and go do a little dance. Go do your happy dance because it's so much fun. And then come back and you will feel better, and you'll be able to sew for a longer period of time the next time as well. I'm always looking out for you. And close camera, we're going to go ahead now and make sure I got a good, oh yeah, I did it this way so you could see my fingers and see that I'm steering with my fingers on this. I'm going to go ahead and bring my bobbin thread up after I put the foot on, but I didn't tighten it. And it's very important to tighten everything down when you use a free motion foot. Go ahead and tighten that screw. I'm actually going to use a better screwdriver. Or should I say a real screwdriver? Because my thumb, it's easier on your thumb to use a bigger screwdriver. And then on this side, the needle bar screw, but don't go full force on this. You want to go a little bit more than finger tight. And if you don't, as the bar on this foot goes up and down and it hits that needle bar, that's what makes the foot hop around and stops it from spreading your fabric out as you sew. And we're going to use a straight stitch. Lower the foot. Despite the fact, normally there is no foot, this time there is a foot. So make sure your foot is lowered. That means the tension discs are closed on the thread. And you can test before you ever begin so you don't end up with the bird's nest by simply pulling. So as you pull, you can see the needle is deflecting a little bit. If the needle doesn't move when you pull the thread, it's because the foot is raised. And that's what causes the big loops of thread on the back side of your fabric. Now, I can lower the feed dogs, but I'm going to start without them lowered because I want you to know you can sew without lowering your feed dogs, without covering them up. This drawer is opening again. I need to remember my drawer issue for the weekends so I can fix it. So I'm going to remember, if you know that you put your sticker on the fabric and the fabric is not over, or the sticker is not over the frame, there's no way you're going to break your needle on that. A 90-14 needle is necessary because we have a seam going down the center of this cap, making the needle more vulnerable along that center seam. Am I distracted? Did I say it wrong? Elbows down, shoulders relaxed. Did I say the opposite? I don't know. I don't have time to go through all your chats anymore and read them afterward. Using just a straight stitch, lower your tension one number less than normal. Mine is normal at 4.0. I'm taking it down all the way to 3.0. Because our regular sewing machines do not have a computer. Changing the tension setting It's another reason I shaped the Octi-Hoops in an octagon shape, so that the fact that the tension doesn't change as we move the hoop left and right and diagonally, and we can even go really big in our stitches, which you normally cannot do with a regular sewing machine with a round hoop. So now I gotta choose. What stitch direction do I want to do? Do I want to have all my stitches going up and down? I think so. I think it'll look good if I do that. Elbows down, shoulders relaxed. And when I use cover up, just like when I made lace the other day, and I started with tulle, we want to anchor connecting the cover, the blue vinyl. We want to connect it to the fabric using what I call a cross-hatching design. So we're just going to go across, and you don't really have to worry about this right now on what it looks like, because we're going to go over it and make it look better. So this is just to get a good foundation for the cover up so that it will never come loose from outside or underneath the embroidery. So your hat will look good after it's been washed as well. All right, so looking pretty sloppy right now, huh? Man, I never say huh. I'm going slow over the center seam, which is 2 felled seams lined up with each other. It's a pretty aggressive little area. And that's why I'm using a foot as well, to encourage it to stay down without me having to use my fingers to hold it down. Do not watch the sewing machine needle. Do not watch the sewing machine needle. Talking to myself. Well, look where you're going, not where you're at. Look where you're going, not where you're at. And that's how you sew more accurately. And the entire time, I'm not using this hand to steer. I'm using my dominant hand. So if, in fact, you are left-handed, you can use the handle in the left side, and that would be what you would draw with. So cross-hatching just to secure the cover-up to the fabric. And the stitches are kind of close together. It doesn't even matter how close they are together because you're not going to see them in a minute. All right, now elbows down, shoulders relaxed. I'm going to go up and down in my stitch direction using a straight stitch. And it's just a fill-in. This is one way you can do it. And I'm getting bored because the camera can't handle how fast my machine goes, so I'm going a little bit slower than I would normally. If you start getting really good at this, you might go, nah, I'm getting bored. This is taking too long. Then you would turn the hoop, and we're going to switch to a zigzag stitch. And select a width that's wide. Now this foot will allow me to use my machine's full 7mm wide width. And now it's important that I don't turn the hoop like this while I'm sewing, that I keep it so that my needle is in line with the straight line there. Elbows down, shoulders relax. You said it doesn't look messy, DS? Thank you. I gotta put my glasses back on. Okay, here we go. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna outline, keeping my eye on the star there, that I don't cover up the star. Lower my feed dogs, just so you guys can see that you can use it. And here we go. Keep the hoop in that one position and go around. And now I'm going slow. The machine running fast, the hoop moving slow, with my fingers controlling it, with my elbows down. So I have a lot more control than you ever would using any other free motion hoops. Now I'm going to go straight, keeping these lines that are going horizontal straight, not turning it, because that'll change the stitch direction. And this is how you can get fill-in faster and actually sew out faster than an embroidery machine ever could. And there's a star there so I don't want to cover it up. I'm going to cut up here now. And we do the little fine details after the large area. And now I just go left and right. And I realized that I switched to a zigzag stitch, but I didn't. And when you do that with a computerized machine, the thread tension goes back to what it normally is. So I'm going to lower it back down to 3.0. So yeah, I designed these hearts this morning. I decided on the hat last night and designed the design today. Gave you 5 different options to sew out. One of the reasons I don't like using a foot is because you can't see. And hopefully I did that star really well. Okay, so up and down, otherwise you'll see it. Cut in. Get close to the star, but the angle of the star is not parallel with the lines. Come up and go down. And then we feather. I can go back fast, now come back slow. Keeping it all nice and consistent. Come up. And now, hopefully I'm not getting my hand in the way. So I know one of you told me my thumb was getting in the way when I go live. I'm trying really hard to keep everything in my mind. So now I'm going to switch to a narrower width. Go all the way down to a 4.0 width. Looks pretty now, doesn't it? And really it has to do with just understanding the way the light captures your thread. Stitch direction is important to get things to look good. I hate the foot being there. So much easier without a foot. Maybe I should do the rest without it. Stay away from the stars, do the stars after with no foot. You want to go left and right as you move to another area. There's the bottom end of that star. Okay, so now I'm going to feather my way up, or really I could tie a knot and work my way over. Okay, I got another star. I can't see the star. I'm going to imagine that I can. Because I can draw a star. I think I'm going to work my way around the stars on this side. So there's 2 ways of coming at this. So do the star first so you're not stressed out. Come over. And now I'm going to do that solid satin stitch by just not moving the hoop and not moving the hoop, not swinging the hoop, just moving it straight and slow. And we get a nice solid line there separating the blue from the white and the red. And then look and go, okay, where's the next star? The next star is way over here. So this design has 3 stars in it. I know that I'm free to really go fast over there. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and cut in that star by going ahead and creating this solid separation. Work my way over. It's kind of what I do when I color in a coloring book. I like to outline first. Keeping your elbows down and your shoulders relaxed. There we go. Now come up. Coming toward the star is easier to see. Don't rotate the hoop. Keep the hoop straight. Otherwise your stitch direction will look funky or wonky. Once you get the hang of the Octi-Hoops, this is one of the most relaxing things you will ever do. There's something about watching the needle swinging. I don't know, I get kind of warm and fuzzy inside when I do it. So now I'm going to switch back to that 7mm wide width because it's faster. Got to get this done by 4 o'clock. Don't have much more time. Make sure that you're not going to swing into the star. That width, both left and right swing, needs to be in a safe zone. And then you can space out a little bit. Not looking at the needle anymore, looking ahead of where you're going. Like when you walk on the sidewalk, you don't look at your feet or you'd fall. So look where you're going and you'll have a better result. My ear is itching. I'm going to have to stop. Yep. Oh, God. Woo. That was funny. I guess someone's talking about me. Here we go. Keep the hoop straight. Keep these lines going left and right. The horizon lines. Make sure you breathe. I'm going to go left and right. No swing in the hoop, just moving it left and right and up and down. Left and right and up and down. So you see how much faster? Even though I can do this with just a straight stitch, it's faster to use a zigzag stitch. I'm going to clean up that edge there. The left and right movement is soothing. That blue beneath will never wash away. You will never see white fabric popping through your colors. And that is because of the fabric cover-up. That's our vinyl fabric that we offer. That's special, so it doesn't stick to the needle. Everything is held down without me having to hold it down. My fingers are loose. It's a very smooth, easy, flowing movement over the sewing machine. Everything is slippery. You don't need whatever that slider thing is called. You don't need one of those to do anything, including the quilting, because this also lets you free motion quilt. And this is the Octi-Hoops free motion embroidery and quilting frames that I engineered to make it so everybody could do free motion. And that is why children as young as 3 have been able to free motion, and children as young as 8 have been able to do free motion quilting. And you can do it as well. You just have to jump in and try, and don't be afraid. So now I'm done with the blue. And before I cut the thread and start over or look, I will look and make sure that there isn't any, really big spaces, because when you're looking at your thread this way, you're looking over mountains at what you've sewn. But when you look at it this way, you're looking down the valley, and you can see if you need to fill it in a little bit. And if you do, then you want to switch. Sorry, my thumb was in your way, you guys. You can't see through the hat or my thumb. The next one will get easier. Look, I'm not looking at the camera, and you guys have to yell louder. I can't hear you. So now I have switched to a straight stitch, take the tension back to 3. I just don't want to hurt myself so you can see. I'll try. The red is further down, so now I'm just going through and looking up the valley of the thread. The valley of the thread. Sounds like a book. And I'm going to cut in now on the star. This is when you have, what is that? Feels like it's not moving fully. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, the thread. The toe was catching on a carryover stitch. Bad habit of mine. Cut your carryovers. Don't leave them hanging around, because they will cause the toe of the foot to get stuck. That's what was going on. So if it's not moving, don't try to keep going till it does move. Looking at the stars now, trying to make sure that I have a nice, clean, straight around the stars. This will be the part you notice the most. Elbows down, shoulders relaxed. This is not me trying to be funny. I feel tense, and then I realize I'm being tense, and then I tell myself to stop doing it, basically. So this is kind of like a zigzag stitch, except for I am moving the hoop in a zigzag movement instead. I'm using an up and down zigzag instead of a side to side one. That's what's so cool about using the straight stitch, is you can mimic a zigzag stitch. And there's no risk of lifting up the hoop. Another question I get a lot is why I don't lower my needle. And it's simply because you don't need to. You probably will instinctually not feel the need to. And I've had people ask me how come they don't feel the desire to lower their needle with our Octi-Hoops. And it's simply because you don't lose control. I've let go and nothing changes the thread because we're not raising the foot. The tension's holding the thread taut. So if there's no need to lower the needle, you're less likely to put it in the wrong spot. You're less likely to have to turn your hand wheel backwards, which causes your thread to fall up the take-up lever, which causes you to end up with big knots on the backside of your projects. So keeping the needle in the up position and only using your needle down when you want to, rather than it always stopping down, is much safer. You're less likely to break needles as well. That's why in 127 students over a whole weekend of Octi-Hoop lessons at a store in, where was I? In the St. Louis area. There were only 5 needles broken in the entire class. And they all broke when they were not running the machine. They all broke at this point when they went to lift the hoop up because we didn't use a foot and the hoop hit the needle, and that's how they broke. And I am guilty of being one of the people that broke one of the needles when I was helping one of the students. I got a runaway elbow pillow. And like I said, I'll be making a pay for pattern in creativefeet.com. There is a free version in the school. It's not as detailed. Whenever I do a pattern and offer it for sale, I always give you step-by-step illustrations and go much further and deeper into the development of the pattern to make it, worthy of something for you to purchase rather than something for you to just print out. Now I'm going to change to red thread, and I'm going to be able to finish this for sure. So cutting my needle thread. Now you can use your scissor button, but that cuts your needle and your bobbin, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to raise the foot, pull the hoop a little bit toward me, and I do that to pull the needle thread out without it pulling on the needle, and then cut that blue thread and change to red thread. The bobbin is still connected, so I don't have to bring the bobbin thread up again. Saves you a step. I always remove the thread from the needle before then pulling the thread back toward me. And you'll notice that the thread is in my hand and I pulled it off from here, not from my machine, because sewing machines are not designed to deliver thread to the tension properly. That's why the thread dispenser is used. And those of you who were waiting on your thread dispensers, they have been shipped out, so you should be receiving them soon. And we're waiting on some more dowels to come in. So if you order one today, it won't ship till next week, as the dowels are expected next week. And the thread dispenser basically eliminates 90% of all thread problems you ever have when sewing, embroidering, or quilting. And now I'm switching to my red for our red, white, and blue design. And after this, by the way, I plan on maybe inking this to make it edgy. I might pop up as alive and do that. So red thread goes on the vertical post of the thread dispenser. And this is the thread dispenser. So it has a dual cone stand feature. You have a horizontal, and you can pull the thread from there and take it to your machine. You can also feed off the top where the bobbins are. See, I can stack my bobbins and then go directly from there to the sewing machine. When you have threads that misbehave, you can put them up here and take them to the machine, and it stops them from twisting. And basically, I'd like to take credit for this design, but I dreamt it, so I think of it more of as a gift from the gods. And I woke up in the morning and I drew a picture, and my brother Robert took the drawing and made blueprints, and then the thread dispenser was born, and I can only tell you that I know that you're hearing it from me, that I'm saying that it is life-changing, but it is. My thread, no matter how good a quality your thread is, your sewing machines can have a lot of problems with the thread. And unfortunately, most, especially new sewers, blame themselves when anything goes wrong. And it's almost always not your fault. It's the foot you're using, the needle you're using, maybe not knowing the right recipe, which is why I have a school to help you. So back to an elbow for both, a pillow for each elbow. Get to cuddle up with your sewing machine. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing I did with the red and try to keep my thumb out of the way so you guys don't get annoyed with me. We'll see how good I can do. Once again, it's faster to use a zigzag stitch. If you'd like, I can do one without the zigzag stitch so that you guys can see the difference. I'll do that. I'll leave it on the straight stitch. Tension is at 3.0, which is one number less than my machine is normal at. So if your machine is normal at 5 on the tension, you will go to 4. I don't have to bring the bobbin thread up because I was careful to not need to. The foot must be lowered or the thread tension is not applied to the thread. That's what causes bird's nest. There's nothing suddenly wrong with your sewing machine. It's just that you're not using your machine the right way. If it doesn't have the foot lowered with the thread in the tension discs, you will end up without, I forgot what I was saying. I'm into the rhythm here. I gotta do the cross hatching to secure the cover up to the hat really well so that once this is washed, it won't change or distort or shrink in because you threw it in the dryer, because it is vinyl. That's one of the neat things about vinyl, is that if you do use it and you tear it away afterward, you can take a blow dryer to it and it shrinks into the embroidery. So if you have an embroidery machine and you use it and you just tear it and it doesn't tear completely away, that's a solution for it. You never want to use cover up in real open designs like the strings of a tennis racket. You don't want to use cover up in there. You'd use it in the handle of the tennis racket. I hope that makes sense. So now if I want it to look the same as this, I need to move the hoop faster to make my stitches the same width as a 7mm wide zigzag. And this would normally break your needle and break your thread, but it doesn't do that with the Octi-Hoops, because the Octi-Hoops are octagon shaped, which holds the fabric so tight and so taut without distorting it in any way that you can mimic the look of a zigzag stitch without breaking your needle. Try this with a round hoop and you will have a bad experience. Hands down, guaranteed. So I also like to, just like I did before, I like to outline. Remember, this is a straight stitch. See the needles going straight up and down? I am moving the hoop in a zigzag movement. I do this better without talking. Lower the speed of the machine. And if you use speed control, you'll have a better time. And now I'm basically drawing a satin stitch instead of using a satin stitch, if that makes sense. Took a moment from talking, and now you can also go slow like I am and just moving your hands with larger swings with the machine running slower. You can actually accomplish 25, 30mm wide zigzag swings with a straight stitch sewing machine. If this all seems a little bit bizarre to you, well, you haven't hung out with me long enough. This is my Octi-Hoop. This is the medium size. You get 3 sizes in your kit. Sometimes we use them separately. Sometimes we use them together. Sometimes 1, sometimes 2, and sometimes all 3 at the same time. So you can see this is going to take longer, but I just want you to see the comparative of the smooth look of the stitch compared to that. It is a similar look. And I'm going to go back to the zigzag because I want to be done by 4 o'clock today so I can ship all the orders that are going out today. So I don't disappoint anyone. Weekend's coming. Okay, 7mm wide zigzag stitch, elbows down, shoulders relaxed. Tension dropped back down to 3 because my machine's computerized. It changes the tension every time I change the stitch pattern. Outline using the satin stitch, cutting a nice clean straight line where the red and the blue come together, not come down. Same speed, nice and slow. Once again, cut up using your slow moving hands, fast moving machine or needle, and go up. And then fill it in. And now we're like swaying. It's like ice skating. If you're a really good ice skater and you're on the ice and your skates are going left and right. It's my hand in the way again. Left and right. Trying to keep the cap out of the way so you can see. Trying to act like I have 5 brains. If you're new to my channel, welcome to Fabrically Speaking Live. You are watching live. If this is July 23rd around 4 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Now I can cheat and just zip over because I'm going to go over that with white and hop to the next one. And once again, go up. This is a live show, which means there's no editing. If I break a needle, I break a needle in front of you. If I don't break a needle in front of you, it's because I did not break a needle. Now I'm coming up to the double felled seam across the front center of the cap, and I'm going to slow down because my needle would appreciate it. And this is how we don't break needles. In the thick areas, you slow down and give the sewing machine a little bit of an easier time to form that stitch. But don't push down because there's no need. The hoop is holding the fabric down and the foot is holding it down as well. And there we go. Back to the ice skating motion, left and right without rotating the hoop. Keep the hoop straight. And all the stitches will have the same light exposure. The light will bounce off the stitches the same way. And people will think you've done this with an embroidery machine, although it's going to even look richer than an embroidery machine. I love the look of free motion embroidery over machine embroidery machines. Elbows down, shoulders relaxed. Is anybody taking a nap? Did I put any of you to sleep? This is the Octi-Hoops found at creativefeet.com at supporting dealers who carry the Creative Feet products. Make sure you ask, do you carry the Creative Feet products? And if they do, then you know that you can trust that they have our products and not lookalikes or copycats. And you'll have a wonderful time doing your embroidery without getting all over your needle. As you can see live in front of you, I'm not having any sticky needle issues. I'm going to go up here now and outline again. Ooh, I didn't do the anchor stitch with the straight stitch. Got to do that. Definitely don't skip that step. Even though it looks sloppy, it doesn't show up as sloppy. It's especially important outline with a straight stitch if you're using the cover up and you didn't cut it to size, if you have it stick out, and then it'll perforate it and make it so you can tear it right off. In case you were wondering if you could use it in a manner like that, tearing it off. Yes, absolutely. Many times you can. Free motion is different than embroidery machines. We are the embroidery unit. We need to see what we're doing. So the process is similar, but different. I didn't go wider on my width, going all the way now to 7. Are you guys all chilling? Here we go. All right, so ice skating movement, side to side. We're on the ice, moving. Hi, Chase. It must be close to 4. Chase has an alarm clock in his fur coat, and he comes in and he taps me with his nose to let me know it's getting close to 4 o'clock every time I go live. Now, straight stitch, and I'm going to jet on over, hop on over to the last of the red areas. You can see how nice that's looking. Isn't it nice to know you can do this with a regular sewing machine? It saves you money. So just when you think it costs too much to sew, it does not. Sewing is cheaper. Especially when you can use an old vintage sewing machine handed down to you. Just make sure you oil your machine often if you're using an older machine. And just know your sewing machine, even if it's new, does not self-oil. It's just a silly word they use. It's a term that's not true. They fill up little pads in the machine and give it an extra amount of oil. It still needs oil. You still need to take it into your dealer and have those pads filled up with more oil. I know this because I am a sewing machine mechanic. My knowledge of sewing machine repair is how I ended up becoming an inventor of sewing machine products. There we go. It doesn't matter what machine you have, you can do this. It's so much fun, you guys. All right, so now I'm going to switch to a straight stitch, tie it off. And now I'm going to switch to white thread and finish this up, raising the foot, pulling the thread, because you do not have to cut your bobbin thread. Pull the thread out of the needle before removing the thread from the machine, and you won't end up with it shredding up and getting stuck in your tension assembly. Now, I am going to just go ahead and use the white over that because it's going to show you how it looks when you do that, and also because I can cover up pretty good. And this is the white I've chosen to use. It is not the same white that's there. It's different white so that it will contrast with the bright white. This is Polyfast number 6580. This is Polyfast 1089, in case you guys want to do this project. And wouldn't this be a nice gift to give someone for 4th of July? These are the 3 colors in the Polyfast line that you can find at creativefeet.com. This is the Wonderful brand Polyfast 40 weight 100% polyester thread, so it will not shrink, bleed, fade, or break as easily as other types of thread. Amy's focusing because she wants to win the prize. Remember, we are having a giveaway, but you have to have had all of your brain cells in gear throughout the entire video. I will be asking a question, and I will give you guys time to get to your keyboard so that you're ready to type. And I'm going to ask a question that is based on today's lesson to see if you've been paying attention. I think you guys are learning better because I'm doing this. I don't always have a giveaway. Usually I just don't have enough time to organize it. But I'm really enjoying this process and seeing how much you guys pay attention. So are you paying attention now to what I'm saying? I'm going to try something here and see if you can see while I do it. But I really think that if I do the star going the same direction as the blue, it's going to drop in and look dropped in. So what I'm going to do instead of trying to form a star is I'm going to do a zigzag stitch and kind of rotate the hoop a little bit, come down, and then I'm going to do it again and come down. So it's going to have zigzags coming into one another to make it stand up even higher than the blue. Yes, this is, even though I've done a lot of embroidery lessons and I've even shown baseball caps, I've never done it exactly this way, as there's so many ways to, there's so many different ways of doing everything, right? Slicing a banana. Sorry. A conversation I had last night with Kayleen popped into my head. There's lots of different ways of slicing an avocado, and she said, but there's only one right way. Okay, so instead of using a zigzag stitch, I'm going to aim for the point and go to the center. Aim for the point and go to the center. with slow machine, slow. And that's me talking to myself. Slow machine, slow hands. Slow machine, faster moving hands or bigger movement. And everybody knows when Claire's quiet, it's because she's concentrating. After, I'm talking in the third person. How silly is that? So remember, this is just a straight stitch. But it's a zigzag. But it's not. It's a straight stitch. Clean it up. So see, it's not that bad to do a star after all. Now we come over again. Always going out to the point, coming back to the middle. And I am almost done for the day. The question of the day is going to pop up. And are you ready at your keyboard? Are you ready to type? Whoever types the answer first in one answer. So don't like say it and hit enter and then say it and hit enter. You have to have said the answer in one answer. And you have to answer correctly. And then you will win all 16 colors of the cover-up that I used to do this. 2 packages with 2 feet of each color. So coming from the center, going out to the other point. Slow down. Elbows down, shoulders relaxed. See how slow you can go? You don't have to move. You don't have to run the machine fast. It's your pace. Coming back to the center, come back to the center. This is me bossing my brain around. And if you have an animal that lives with you, the animal might think you're a little bit nuts because you're talking to yourself so much. Now I'm raising the foot and I'm moving over and then lowering the foot for a carryover stitch that needs to be removed afterward. Since I'm using a straight stitch and have not switched to a zigzag stitch, this is a knot each time I start and stop. So tie a knot by just not moving the hoop. Now we're going to, once again, go from the center to the point. Slow movement, slow machine, slow machine. That's me instructing my brain. So my hands have not had to come off of the hoop this entire time. Go to the center, go to the center. I'm just instructing my brain. Everything we do in life, we're training our brain. Train your brain to keep you from going insane. All right, now I'm getting silly. It's usually an indicator I need to eat. And up and down. Remember, this is a straight stitch acting like a zigzag stitch. What? How dare that straight stitch look like a zigzag stitch? That's confusing. All right, left, right. That's funny. Left, 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 right, left. Okay. That's how my dad used to get us to walk. He would say that. He was a sergeant in the army. And he would do that. Line up all 6 kids in a row and go, all right, everybody line up. Let's go. Left. See how nice that's looking, you guys? Does that look like freehand embroidery? I could really use my machine a little bit further away. See, it can even be more comfy. But I have the microphone and lights and cameras. Now the microphone's in my eyesight. There we go. Okay, so I raise the foot. Straight stitch, so I tied a knot. It's not like a zigzag stitch. Make sure the thread's under the toe. Lower the foot. Start in the middle. You don't have to worry about your bobbin thread. You never did. Have to worry about your bobbin thread. When you hold down a thread, you only really ever have to hold down the needle thread. You can bring the bobbin thread up. And when you do, you don't have to hold the bobbin thread. You only have to hold the needle thread because the take-up lever pulls the thread down and pulls it up, and it'll just pull it out of the fabric, making you have to start all over again. No big deal, really. And trying to stop yourself from annoying yourself. So tie a knot by just not moving the hoop. Center to the point. Center to the point. Real slow. You don't have to go fast. And then just going down, keeping it going down to the center. Imagine what you can do with this, with the petals of flowers, changing their appearance by simply using a straight stitch and slowing down to create really cool. I'm getting sleepy. I'm putting myself to sleep. Huh? All right, out to the center. Out to the point, back to the center. It's not that hard to create stars, is it? That's easy. Left. Nope, straight. Go to the point, come to the center, telling myself what to do. Telling the autonomic function of the brain. Bossing yourself around so that you can space out and listen to music, sing a song, listen to a movie you've seen before. Because once you realize you don't have to learn as you're going, it becomes automatic and a lot more fun than you ever could imagine. Just need the right hoop, the right tools. I'm going to go around the stars. I should have done that with each of them. Kind of outline them to make it look like some computerized machine did it. But we are the computerized machine. Needle down. Never. I never do. My needle's always up. Why would you lower it if you're going to raise it anyway? Raise the foot, move over, come back. I should have done this before. So I'm making them all look the same by cleaning it up, tightening it up with a straight stitch going around the outside. I can see that I didn't form that one as well as I could. So now I have the chance to do that. And straight stitch. By the way, I've not looked at the chat in a while because I have to watch what I'm doing. And I'm about to do the white stripes and we'll be done. Outlining with a straight stitch to clean it up. Can't see through the foot. I'm using a foot because of the thickness of the fabric, not because you need one. Tie a knot, raise the foot, and now I can use a satin stitch and go up to create a satin stitch stripe, but I don't want to do that. I want to have only the stars be different than everything else. So now I'm just going to hop over here and do that little section first. Lower the foot, or you don't have tension on your thread. And it's a teeny weeny little area. So what? I got a straight stitch. My needle just moves up and down. I can definitely do this and make it look like it's zigzagged by slowing the machine down and doing larger stitches. I can cover up that red thread that's already there where I got a little sloppy and neaten and tidy it all up. I was thinking about outlining the whole thing in red. What is your thought on that, you guys? Raise the foot, come down, hop over, and to speed this up, I'm going to go back to the 7mm wide zigzag stitch. I'm getting really hungry. What are you guys making for dinner? What'd you have for dinner? Or lunch? Or breakfast? If you're in Australia, you may be just having breakfast. Lower the foot. It is lowered. Okay. Back to zigzag stitch. And go up. This is July 23rd. No, it's not. It's June 23rd of 2022. This is Fabrically Speaking Live Season 3, Episode 26. This is the Octi-Hoop medium size that I'm using to embroider this baseball cap. The show is about to end. If it is not that date when you're watching this, is because you're not watching it live. Because Fabrically Speaking Live is only live when I'm live. Switch back to a straight stitch, tie a knot, hop over, tie a knot, switch back to a zigzag stitch, widen my width, lower my tension. A cookie? Somebody's having a cookie for dinner. Speaking of cookies, Carlene sent me a bunch of cookies. That's sweet. Go up. I have issues with wheat, and there's a gluten-free cookie. Tate's chocolate chip cookies, gluten-free. They're not sugar-free though. They're not calorie-free. I partake every once in a while of sweets. My body doesn't like sugar, but I do pretty well with those cookies. I don't know if she's observing from the bleachers hiding in the background with the rest of the lurkers or not. I forgot to do... Oh, I don't need to. I don't need to do the cross hatching because there's no white cover up underneath here. It's just the white hat. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Almost done, you guys. What am I going to ask you? What am I going to ask you? Have you been paying attention? Are you going to win the prize? Are you ready to type? Get ready to type. You don't want to feel cheated out of the opportunity to win. Straight stitch. You can see the importance of the fabric cover-up, giving you perfect, clear, beautiful, consistent color without the risk of having the color of the fabric poking through. You don't have to use as many stitches because the color of the thread is behind the color of thread you're laying down. Wider zigzag stitch. Lowering my tension back to 3. Wish this machine was quiet and didn't beep. I don't have to do the undersew if there's no cover up. So it's the vinyl that we're anchoring when we do the under stitching. The cross hatching. And I'm going to be quiet while I figure out what question I'm going to ask you. It may be a 2-part question. If it's a 2-part question, you still answer it in one answer. Don't get confused and do it in 2. You don't want to miss out on the opportunity to win because you answered it in 2 answers. This is my get back. What time do I have? 4:03. How's that for timing it? Look at that. I'm almost done. Have I been good about keeping my thumb and the hat out of the way, you guys? Because, I haven't really been looking. Now, instead of using a zigzag stitch, I'm going to use a zigzag movement. Moving the hoop in a zigzag motion. With a straight stitch, much easier to work your way through little areas like this than trying to manage a zigzag width. The less you move the hoop, the smaller your pretend zigzag is. Now it's my chance to look at all of the white areas and make sure I have a good cover. Because this does not have fabric cover beneath it. The white areas did not. And so I built it up to make it as high as the rest. And then we can cut the thread. This is the time when you go ahead and use your scissor button. And now raise the foot and slide it out. And you can see that even with the foot, it has good clearance. Then you set it down on a flat surface to remove it. What do you think? The one that said it looked messy before. What do you think? Still look messy? It's turkey spaghetti over zucchini noodles. Your son cooked. I want a son that cooks for me. How do I get that arranged? No, my son used to cook for me, but now he lives in Seattle. He's partly why I was up until 2 in the morning last night, because he's my IT person for creativefeet.com. And he works nights. So I basically worked a double shift yesterday. So the reason we want to always put the hoop on a flat surface when we remove it is because all we're going to do is have a hole the shape of a heart in our stick and tear. See how pretty the back looks? So now I'm going to go ahead and pull up the bill or the hat, pulling toward the center, kind of like we stitched to the center, putting your hand down in your embroidery, and that keeps you from tearing away more stick and tear. And you can patch your hole with another piece of stick and tear. Ours is the only patchable sticky back tearaway stabilizer, and it doesn't gum up your needle. So you end up with a little heart-shaped hole, and you can take one of your scraps So even the messiest looking scraps can be perfect for a patch, and you can just tear it. Tear a little more off. Now watch how I do this, and go ahead and fold back and fold it back the other way, and it should start to separate from the release liner. This is when I know my thumb is not normal yet. It's almost there though. And then you peel it off, and you're gonna go ahead and go like this and put it on the back. And you lay it down like this. Very, very lightly touch it. Then lay it back down. Take your release liner, shiny side back down, and rub it. So the reason you put it on the back is because this has not had anything stuck to it. This has. So the patch has got a stronger stick than the rest, or than what's on top. And now you can stretch, re-peel it up and stretch it out and make it taut. And now you're ready to take and lay your next thing down, and this is how you would embroider a visor, just like that. So next is for me to, and I know I gave you guys the warning at 4 o'clock, but I have a little bit more time, so I can peel this off. You know, whenever I have somewhere to go, I always tell myself I have to be there earlier. I have to be heading for the car at 4:30, and I have to give the dogs their good dog treats after being so good for the entire show and not once coming up and expecting me to pet them or anything. Let me just go ahead and tear that towards itself. Always go, when you remove the cover up as well, you always go towards the embroidery, and it tears nice clean away. And you have this beautiful 4th of July hat, and I can ink it and make it even better. I could also put it back in the hoop. I could do some flowers. I could write Liberty. I could write Made in the USA. I can do whatever I want anywhere on the hat, because if the stick and tear lets you just stick a part of the hat down and embroider on it, well then that's all that you need to hold it while you write something really cool on it. I feel like Amy already knows the answer. She already knows which question that I'm going to ask. So I'm going to try to think of a different thing that I said. What is it about the Octi-Hoops that makes it so that I can sew something like this without having to stretch it in between the hoop? What is it about the Octi-Hoops that makes it possible to sew any fabric without stretching it or distorting it out of shape? Why can I do it with the Octi-Hoops and not with a square hoop or a round hoop? Why can you not do this by taking your machine embroidery hoop and throwing our stabilizer on it and sticking it under your needle and doing machine embroidery? What about the Octi-Hoops makes it unique to every other method of machine embroidery and makes it so that you can do so many different things, like the freestanding lace I did last week and so much more? Answer, come on. Time's it going. Tick, tock, tick, tock. And now I wait for you to answer. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't given me a thumbs up while in live chat, and it is still live at June 23rd of 2022, please, if you do any activity in the chat, it really does help me with the YouTube algorithm and Facebook algorithm. And if you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I sure hope you'll do so today. And don't forget to join my free online school, Create with Clare Rowley, found at create.clarerowley.com. And I'm going to have you guys help me figure out who the winner is, because last time I did it wrong and I ended up giving more than one prize away. And the person who won never got a prize. So it is the shape of an octagon that makes it possible for it to do that. So if you said that, why isn't it showing up here? So weird. Okay, it's all right. At the end, there will be an end scene with all of the links to our site. So who said it first? The shape of an octagon is why the Octi-Hoops can do everything. I didn't just give it a silly name for a silly reason. There's a really important reason for that. It just so happens that because it's an octagon shape, it also can fit in a featherweight, little area of the featherweight, and you can cross over the center of our largest frame, which means you can embroider an entire embroidery the size of this frame with a featherweight sewing machine. And isn't that a great? I can't wait to get my featherweight done. So pebble under the surface is part of it, Eve, because it allows us to attach the stabilizer. But the shape of the hoop is why I can do any fabric and it never gets puckered inside of that. You remembered that from last week. All right, so who said octagon shape first? Looks like Brenda. Am I right? Although you didn't say anything, it's just you just said adhesive octagon shape. That's kind of covering more than one in there. Yeah, it looks like Brenda did. Brenda Foley. Not to be confused with another Brenda, because we have more than one Brenda in here today. And hi, Brenda Foley. It's been a while since you participated in the chat. Is it because you usually are lurking in the background? All right, you guys, I need a boogie. I love you so much. Thanks for spending another Thursday afternoon with me. Thursday afternoon, my time. And I'm probably not going to be in person live next Thursday. If everything goes well, if the stars align, I'll have a video to premiere during this time, because I am going to give myself a little bit of a mini vacation so that I can launch the Creative Feet Extensive in a nice way inside the school. For those of you who've been waiting for the Creative Feet Extensive to open up, it will be opening up in July. Yes, it will. The week after 4th of July. Or after 4th of July. I will give you the exact date as soon as I can be sure that I'm not late, because I never like to be late. I don't know about you guys, but I stay up late, but I don't like to be late. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye. See you next Thursday, or better yet, see you in the school. Don't forget, sign up for Create with Clare Rowley, and the VIP has a 7-day free trial for you guys to check it out so that you can see what's in there and feel your way around to see if it's a good fit for you. Love you guys. See you next week. Bye.